जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जन बल्लवा गिरिवरधारी। गोपी जन बल्लवा गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधवा हरि। जय जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सचरी श्रृंखला भक्ति वेदांत गोस्वामी महाराज शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सचरी श्रृंखला भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। ISKCON PVT founder Charya His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री गौर राधा कृष्ण गो गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। श्री श्री वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय। श्री श्री नवदीप द्वारका धाम की जय। श्री धाम मायापुर धाम की जय। श्री श्री यमुना मई गंगामयी की जय। श्री श्री तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री श्री सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री युग धर्म हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। Our loving spiritual master, His Divine Grace, most merciful Savior of the whole world, by spreading Sanatan Dharma, holy name, all over the world. Patit Pavan Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Patit Pavan Srila Prabhupada Transcendental Book Distribution ki jai. Patit Pavan Srila Prabhupada Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Bolo Lalita Vishakha Radhe Shyam ki jai. श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय। श्री श्री निताय गौर सुंदर भगवान की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी। All glories to humble devotees. All glories to humble devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gaurang. All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunamilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami iti namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarane. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami iti namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarane. मिलकर सारे बोलेंगे, everybody together. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, louder. Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare. Today is 1st January 2023 and today is Sunday. I like to welcome all of you to this Prabhupada's Leela reading. Dear devotees, brothers and mothers, it is prescribed by Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, recommended by Lord Chaitanya, who is the Yuga Avatar, who is the incarnation of this age. And he is very, very merciful. He said that Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastra Kaye, Lava Matra Sadhu Sanghe Sarva Siddhi Hoye. That we should associate with saintly person. We should associate with saintly person. We should associate with saintly person. Even a little association with a saintly person can be derived by great benefit. Perfection of life. Perfection of life is only if one becomes Krishna conscious. Perfection of life means one becomes devotee of Krishna. Otherwise, this life is imperfect. So, present time, Srila Prabhupada is the greatest devotee of the time. Reading his pastime is Leela Amrit. Srila Prabhupada Leela Amrit means we are associating with him. So we should keep in our mind that we should think of devotee like Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada is a Mahabhagavad Vaishnava. But he has done, nobody could do in the past and no question in the future. Na bhuto na bhavishyati. So, this chapter Leela Amrit is going on, the war chapter. Mr. Churchill's Human World. We are pleased to find that leaders of the world politics, such as Mr. Churchill, have nowadays begun to think of a human world and trying to get rid of the terrible national fringe of hate. Generally, in this material world, people are not devotee. He may be a Churchill, or he may be something else, because they are not devotee, and they are full of hate. They hate with each other. But now Churchill is thinking to that trying to get rid of the terrible national fringe of hate. There's hate with each other, killing each other. So Churchill is thinking like the fringe of love of Hitler's own countrymen has produced the concomitant fringe of hatred for others. And the present war is a result of such dual side of a fringe called love and hatred. So, when we wish to get rid of the fringe of hate, we must be prepared to get rid of the fringe of the so-called love. This position of equilibrium, free from love and hatred, is attained only when men are sufficiently educated. Until men were educated to see the soul within the body. Now, there is a question coming to body, because world war means fighting, whole world is fighting with each other, killing each other. And Prabhupada gave the education of soul. We are all souls and part and parcel of Super Soul Sri Krishna. This we don't understand. When we understand that I am a soul, then we will respect other souls. But we have come to the bodily platform. Aham mameti, I and my. Neither I am nothing, and you are nothing. We are all souls, and soul's education was lacking very much. But Srila Prabhupada gave this education. Until men were educated to see the soul within the body, the dual fringe of love and hate would continue. And a human world would not be possible. This introspection, Abhay concluded, is easily attained by the service of Godhead. So Mr. Churchill's humane world implies that we must go back to Godhead. Mr. Bernard Shaw, wishful desire. Mr. Bernard Shaw has congratulated Mahatma Gandhi's on the occasion of the latest 76th birthday in the following words: I can only wish this were Mr. Gandhi's 35th birthday. Instead of his 76th, we heartily join with Mr. Shah in his attempt to subtract 41 years from the present age of Mahatma Gandhi. But death does not respect our wishful desire. Neither Mr. Shah, nor Mahatma Gandhi, nor any other great personality had ever been able to solve the problems of death. There are so many problems in this material world. Family problems, body problems, national problems, international problems, so many problems. But the real problem, nobody is touching. The real problem, Prabhupada says that the real problem is the problem of birth, death, old age and disease. Actually, human body is meant for this, to solve this real problem. We get lost in the temporary problems, body problem, this problem, that problem. But nobody is thinking of the real problem. Dear devotees, real problem is to solve the problem of changing different bodies. From body to body, body to body. We don't know how many bodies we have changed. Prabhupada's message is that we should change these different bodies, changing different bodies. Changing bodies means very troublesome for the soul. Soul is the spiritual. This body is material. This body is made of 5 material elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. Subtle mind, intelligence, and false ego. So changing bodies we don't understand because we are lost in the body concept of life. I am busy thinking I am this body, I am the master of all I survey. I want this, I want that. I and my. These are the real problems. So, Prabhupada gave the formula to solve these real problems. The real problems can be solved by becoming conscious of Krishna. What Prabhupada gave? Krishna consciousness. Back home, back to Godhead. In spite of going back home back to birth and death, Prabhupada says back home, back to Godhead. This information on the basis of our ancient and the oldest scriptures available on earth, this information is given by Srila Prabhupada. The leaders of the nations have opened many factories for manufacturing, weapons for the art of killing. This is what is going on. But none has opened a factory to manufacture weapons for protecting man from the cruel hands of death. Nobody has. Prabhupada says they are opening the factories, making the weapons to kill the people. Already nature is killing, we are all dying. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi is there. But they couldn't open any factory, any manufacture, any weapon for protecting man from the cruel hands of death. Although our wishful desire is always not to die. We don't want to die. Nobody likes to die. We all like to stay. But nobody can be permanent in this material world. This body is temporary. This body has 6 major changes. Birth. Body take birth, grow, stay stationary, produce some byproducts, children, and then dwindle and then die. 6 major changes. So this body is temporary. But this temporary body is given to the soul by Krishna to realize the soul, to realize the self. Spiritual life begins from here. I am not this body. I am soul and I am part and parcel of Super Soul Sri Krishna. I am not this body. I am not. But our problems are increasing because we are identifying ourselves with this miserable material body. Fighting each other, hating each other. So, Krishna conscious means I am soul. Whole thing is consciousness. And I am part and parcel of Super Soul Sri Krishna. When I am Krishna's part and parcel, my only business is to work for Krishna, not for this temporary body. Working for temporary body. Prabhupada used to say in New York, people work for 16 hours a day. 16 hours a day, 24 hours, 16 hours they work. More they work, more they get the money. When they get sufficient money, then what they do? then they try to enjoy this temporary body. But there is no enjoyment in this temporary body. This temporary body is, is destined to doom to decay. It's going to die one day. But within the body is a soul, and we have to learn through this body to take care of the soul, not to try to enjoy this temporary body. That is not our business. Men were preoccupied with the problem of how to get bread, although this problem was actually solved by the nature. Man should try to solve the problem of death. Very important point Prabhupada is making, that people are worried for how to get the bread. When they go to the church, they pray, "Oh God, give us our daily bread." This is their worry. But God is supplying bread to everybody. Prabhupada gives the example that He is supplying the food to the elephant in the jungle. How much elephant is eating a day? Maybe 2 to 3 quintals a day. God is supplying him the food. Actually, we should not be worried for bread, but we should be worried how I can come close to Krishna, how I can become devotee of Krishna, how I can be Krishna conscious. This should be our worry. Although this problem was actually solved by nature, man should try to solve the problem of death. This is what Srila Prabhupada is saying. Bhagavad Gita tells that the problem of death can be solved, although death is everywhere in the material world. One attains to me, says Krishna, never has to take birth. Never has to take his birth again in the material world. Problem of death can be solved by becoming devotee of Krishna, by attaining Krishna. How one can attain Krishna? Only with the love and devotion. With the devotion, Krishna can be only attained with love and devotion. In the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, Bhaktya mama vijanati yavan jasyasmi tatvata tato mam tatvato gyatva vishate tadanantaram. I can be known as I am only by devotion, only by bhakti, by no other way. But we have devised so many different ways, this way, Dhyan Yoga, Raj Yoga, Hatha Yoga. Krishna has condemned all those yogas. Though he described those yogas, but real yoga is a bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga is devotion to, unallied devotion to Sri Krishna. Devotion should be unallied, no motivation. As it is mentioned in the Bhagavatam, Save Pumso Paro Dharmo Yato Bhaktir Adhokshaje Ahaituki Apratihata Yayatma Suprasidati. Devotion service to the Supreme Lord should be unmotivated and uninterrupted. No motivation, no interruption. Punctuality and regularity should be there. Then gradually one will advance on this path, and one day he will become fully Krishna conscious, and then only he can think of Krishna at the time of departing from this material world. One who attains to me, says Krishna, never has to take his birth again in the material world. This is the way to solve the problem of birth and death, by attaining Krishna. There is a spiritual world. People have no idea of spiritual world. Some people believe in heaven, but nobody knows about the Vaikuntha. Heaven is also there, but heaven is temporary. Heaven and hell. Kshane pune mrta loke pashanti. People go to the heaven, stay there for some time, enjoy life, long life. When punyas are finished, pious acts are finished, again they are born in this material world. But the information in our scriptures, which is given to the whole world by Srila Prabhupada in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord is describing what is spiritual world. How is the spiritual world? Na tad bhasate suryo, na shashanko na pavakaha, yat gatva na nivratante, tad dhama paramam mama. My word, there is no sun, no moon, no fire, no electricity. Then it is dark there? No. Those who are living there, they are self-effulgent. Effulgence is coming from their transcendental bodies. That information Srila Prabhupada has given to the whole world. And that is the real perfection of life, returning back home, back to Godhead. By the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we should all try for that. We should all work hard to attain that life. And Krishna wants that we all go back home, back to Godhead. One place Prabhupada has mentioned, why Krishna take incarnation? Why comes he came Kali Yuga as Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Dwapar Yuga Krishna himself, then in the form of Ram, then Satyuga Hansa Bhagwan, to take us back home, because we belong to him. But now, in this material world, we want to enjoy independent of Krishna. That's why we are suffering. That's why Krishna has mentioned in the 18th chapter, verse 66, Sarv dharman paritajye mam ekam sharanam brij aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha shami mahasacha. Give up all varieties of religion, just come to my shelter. I shall deliver you from all the reaction of sinful action. Do not worry. But I am so much lost in this material world, I am not coming to the shelter of Krishna. So we have to come to the shelter of Krishna. And these are the teaching which nobody has given. Prabhupada has given this teaching. Says Krishna never has to take birth again in the material world. There is a spiritual world, non-destructible. Spiritual world never destroys. And one who goes there does not come back to the region of death. Why should the leaders of nations cling to the planet of their birth, where death is inevitable? Away concluded with our Gurudev Srila Prabhupada, we wish that in their ripe old age, Mr. Shah and Mahatma Gandhi will make combined effort to educate men, to learn how to go back to home, back to Godhead. After 2 issues of back to Godhead, we had to stop. Printing was costly. What Prabhupada is doing, printing books. Educating people. Prabhupada is educating people about the soul, about the super soul Sri Krishna, about birth, death, old age, disease. This is the transcendental work Prabhupada was doing. Even why his mercy no also going on. But single-handedly Prabhupada started this and did this. We should try to understand the efforts of Srila Prabhupada, which Prabhupada is putting on this point to educate people about the soul and super soul. Because people in this Kali Yuga, they are forgetful of Krishna, they don't know who I am. If you have someone who you are, I am Mr. John, I have 2 sons, 1 daughter, I have factory in New York. He is thinking I am this body. He is not thinking I am a soul, I am Mr. John. Actually, spiritual life begins from here, that I am not this body, I am soul, and I am part and parcel of Super Soul Sri Krishna. This is the beginning of spiritual life. So by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we should think always this. Right now we have developed so many other nonsense habits, nonsense thinking, hatred with each other, backbiting, fighting, dirty politics. But when we start thinking of Krishna, I am Krishna's part and parcel, I am soul, then what will happen? Gradually the dirty thoughts will go down. And we will elevate ourselves spiritually. After 2 issues of Back to Godhead, I had to stop printing. It was costly. But he kept writing regularly. See the greatness of Prabhupada, writing. Writing, working so hard. We are working to make money. Prabhupada is working to educate people about the science of Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada ki. Srila Prabhupada is a very glorious personality, wonderful personality. My god brother sitting here, he has seen Prabhupada in Delhi. He is fortunate soul. Those who have seen Prabhupada, he is initiated by Prabhupada. And we met also in Delhi. And he remembers one thing. I was a little joker, even now, but before I was a little more joking. And I say, Tan paag thwade te darshan hoye sade. He used to laugh. So he is a fortunate person. He got initiated by Prabhupada. Prabhupada is very, very special personality. See, if we have little brain, little intelligence, we can think of greatness of Prabhupada. Prabhupada is thinking, writing. He cannot print, no money, he has no money. Working. But he kept writing regularly, working at Gita Upanishad, means Bhagavad Gita. Turning out now articles and philosophical purports on the scriptures. Even in the same book in which he wrote his pharmaceutical formulas. One night, Abhay had an unusual dream. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta appeared before him. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki. Beckoning, he was asking Abhay to leave home and take sannyas. His Gurudev is encouraging him to take sannyas. Abhay awoke in an intensely emotional state. He became emotional and woke. How horrible, he thought. He knew it was not an ordinary dream, yet the request seemed to so difficult and unlikely. Take sannyas. At least it was not something he could do immediately. Gurudev encouraged him, you take sannyas. But Prabhupada thinking is very difficult. Now, he had to improve the business, and with the profits, he would print books. Prabhupada thinking to increase the business, but just to print the books. With thinking possible, thinking for the whole world, thinking of for everyone. Now he had to improve the business, and with the profits, he would print books. He went on with his duties, but remained shaken by the dream. He kept on doing his duty, but then he was shaken with the dream which he saw, and his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, is asking him to take sannyas. In 1945, the war over, world war was over, and India still is turmoil under British rules. India was still in turmoil under British rule. Actually, during World War, India could have been freed from the British, rule, but some leader, they couldn't think properly. Abe saw a good opportunity to make his business more successful. In Lucknow, 600 miles from Calcutta, he rented a building and opened his own factory. Prabhupada started his business in Lucknow. Abhay Charande and Sons. It was a major investment requiring 40,000 rupees to start. 40,000 rupees means too much money that time. To start, and he began on a larger scale than ever before. Also, according to law, to ensure that he was not dealing in the black market or misusing chemicals, he had to employ 3 government inspectors. Yet, despite a high overhead, he established a good market and his products were in demand. He closed his small operation in Calcutta and concentrated on the Lucknow business. Lucknow business Prabhupada was doing good, making good money, so small business Prabhupada closed. Although the building was known locally to be haunted by ghosts. I was thinking, so a topic came here. The building which Prabhupada has rented, it was a ghost-haunted building. Ghost was living in that building. Abhay had not been deterred, but when he began his operation, some of the workers came to him frightened. Babu, there is a ghost. Abhay then went through the entire building chanting Hare Krishna, and later that there were no more complaints of ghosts. Prabhupada, though he was doing business, but Prabhupada is a born pure devotee. We should remember that. Prabhupada was born pure. And when his workers complained, the Gurudev went to the whole building chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram. What happened? Ghost went away. That's what is mentioned here. And after that, there were no more complaints of ghosts. On November 13, Abhay wrote to his servant Gauranga, mentioning some of his difficulties in Lucknow and asking him to come there to help. In this letter, Abhay spoke bitterly to his wife, Radharani, and children. Gauranga Prabhu, please accept my obeisances. I received your letter dated 7th. Due to lack of time, I could not reply in time. I stay here alone with some servants. If I leave now, then I have to close everything down. Due to my leaving once and closing the business, I have lost about 10,000 rupees, and to goodwill has also been affected, and my enemies have increased. That is why I am fighting practically staking my whole life. I am staying here all alone in the middle of so many difficulties. So Srila Prabhupada is writing Gauranga. See the humility Prabhupada in the letter is paying his obeisance to Gauranga. Haribol. So, Prabhupada said that if I leave, then I am staying here alone in the middle of so many difficulties, not for nothing. Difficulties, not for nothing. That's why I was writing to you repeatedly to come here. As soon as you receive this letter, show it to Debra. Take at least 10 rupees from him and come here. When you come here, I will make arrangements to send many money to your home. What's the point in holding you back with an excuse that there is no servant or maid servant? There was no maid servant or servant at the home, but Prabhupada needed it mostly, but family members are not understanding that. I tried to serve them enough by keeping servants, maid servants and cooks, but up until today they have not become attached to devotional service. What is the worry of Prabhupada here? I have supplied them cooks and maid servants, but they haven't become Krishna conscious family members. I remember I spoke to Prabhupada because I was very much impressed by Prabhupada's wonderful personality and his purity. And I mentioned to him, Prabhupada, I want my family, they should all take initiations from you. The Prabhupada looked at me, he said, Nava Yogendra, see, I may preach all over the world, made devotees all over the world, but I couldn't make my family devotee. Prabhupada is saying that to be Krishna conscious is very rare. It's very rare. So same is mentioned here, that I supplied them everything. Prabhupada is saying they didn't become Krishna conscious. What the point is in holding you back with an excuse that there is no servants or maid servants. I try to serve them enough by keeping servants, maid servants and cooks, but up until today they have not become attached to devotional service. See, Prabhupada has appeared in this material world to give us this greatest gift of devotional service, bhakti, unallied devotional service. Devotional service to the Supreme Lord should be unmotivated and uninterrupted. Bhakti. Who has given bhakti like this? Nobody. So try to understand. Prabhupada is very, 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 very special Vaishnava. Very, very, very special personality. Very special personality. And he was sent by Krishna. One day me and my godbrother were talking. Prabhupada has come from the spiritual world. He has come from the Golok, Vrindavan, to this material world. And once Prabhupada has mentioned, when Prabhupada used to be in a jolly mood, he spoke to one of our godbrothers in Mayapur that Krishna asked me to go and preach. I said, I don't want to go to this horrible world. This material world is horrible, useless place. This material world is not a good place. And we are attached to this material world. But this material world is a horrible place. Prabhupada refused. The Krishna said, no, you go and I will make all the arrangements for you. Krishna sent him here and Krishna was with him. Otherwise how one can preach to this horrible world, America, go to America. New York, what I should say. I've been to New York. Hellish place. Whole Western world is hellish place. People are behaving like animals. People are behaving, I saw one man, he was selling something, some meat product, eating with same hand, giving to the people. People are also eating. I saw one girl, she took her dog to the park for passing stools and she was eating also something. The dog has passed stool, but if she was eating, hold with the teeth, and she lifted the stool of the dog and threw in the dustbin. Then again started eating. Animal life. Prabhupada, changed those people, made them Krishna conscious. But up until today, they have not become attached to devotional service. So I am no more interested about those affairs. When you come here, then I will go to Calcutta. If I see that they are interested about devotional service, then only will I maintain my establishment there. Otherwise, I will not maintain them anymore. Bring a quilt for me. Yours away. Away to Narvind Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada ki. The two interests, family and preaching, were conflicting. Radharani had never shown any interest in back to Godhead. I heard this from Prabhupada's mouth when some, Prabhupada, when he was going to get married, different offers came. 3 offers came. One girl was very beautiful, other was less, and the third one was ugly. And Srila Gaur Mohan asked Prabhupada, Abhay, which girl you want to get married? Prabhupada said, I said, beautiful, this one. His father said, no. Why? If you marry this, you will become attached to her, and you won't be able to become Krishna conscious. So his father said, you marry this ugly girl. Maybe the Radharani. Radharani was never interested in devotional service. And this was actually good for Prabhupada. Prabhupada didn't want to be in family life. Actually, he hasn't appeared to maintain the family. He has appeared to give devotional service to the whole world. So, what was the use? The family was interested neither in backing him in his business, nor in taking up the life of devotional service. This was neither they are helping in his business, nor they are becoming devotee. And since his business was primarily an outcome of his family life, he resented that he had to give it so much of his energy. It was the old economy law by Marshall that he had learned in college. Without family affection, a man's economic impetus is weakened. Of course, there could be a compatible balance between family service and devotional service. Bhaktivinoda Thakur had described 2 simultaneous obligations, bodily and spiritual, social status, mental development, cleanliness, nourishment, and the struggle for existence were all bodily obligations. The activities of devotional service to Krishna were spiritual, and the two should parallel one another. In Bhaktivinoda Thakur's life, his family was a source of spiritual encouragement, and he used his social position to advance his preaching. Prabhupada is referring here Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur's family was very helpful in his spiritual life, whereas Prabhupada's family was not at all helpful to him, nor for his business, nor they were not interested in the spiritual life. One place, when Prabhupada left his home, he came from outside, and Radharani was drinking tea. Prabhupada asked her, "You want tea or me?" He kept on drinking tea. Prabhupada left home. Actually, it was good, for Prabhupada's preaching program and saving the world from going to dogs. His family was not at all helpful to him. And even one of Prabhupada's son, he wanted all ISKCON properties. This is my father's property. Anyway, ISKCON fought that case. So, family attachment is hellish, it's not good. Only attachment to Krishna is helpful to us. So we have to learn here, we have to become attached to Krishna. Of course, there could be a compatible balance between family service and devotion service. Bhaktivinoda Thakur had described two simultaneous obligations, bodily and spiritual. Social status, mental development, cleanliness, nourishment, and the struggle for existence were all bodily obligations. The activities of devotional service to Krishna were spiritual, and the two should parallel one another. In Bhaktivinoda Thakur's life, his family was a source of spiritual encouragement, and he used his service, used his social position to advance his preaching. So it was a different situation with Bhaktivinoda Thakur Maharaj, but with Prabhupada was a different position. So we are actually supposed to only advance spiritually. This human form of life is meant to become Krishna conscious. Krishna has given this body. There is one shloka, ahara nidra bhaimet nacha samanya vetat pashubhe naranam dharmo hitesha adhiko vishesha dharme nahina pashubhe smanam. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. We eat, animal eat. We sleep, animal sleep. We mate, animal mate. We defend, animal defend. What is the difference? Difference is only we can follow the dharma. What is dharma? The laws of God. Animal can't. So this human body, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, as he has explained, meant only for spiritual advancement. To follow the dharma, follow the laws of God given by Krishna, and become very, very properly situated in Krishna conscious, and then return back home, back to God. Bolo Patit Pavan Srila Prabhupada ki. So, thank you very much for listening, and all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Anybody has to say anything? Huh? Prabhupada के चलने वाले को बोलो, Prabhupada के चलने वाले सारा। नहीं, Prabhupada कर रहे हैं, लेकिन कोशिश कर रहे हैं, लेकिन कहीं कोशिश नहीं, we are trying that, but Prabhupada ने किसी ने कहा नहीं, ठीक है? Prabhupada के चलने वाले कल्याण हो जाए। नहीं, देखो डिपेंड करता है, टाइम प्लेस डिपेंड करता है, क्योंकि अभी टाइम प्लेस सर्कमस्टेंसेस ये है कि प्रभुपाद बड़े स्पेशल है इन कामों के लिए, वो आज भी आपकी हेल्प कर रहे हैं। We are just trying, Prabhupada is a doctor and we are trying to become his composer. Not computer. Composer. I was trying to assist him, but he is don't just confuse yourself. Just chant Hare Krishna, remember Prabhupada, pray to do. Huh? Prabhupada did it.
सुप्रीम पर्सन गॉड की तरीके मानने की तुम साक्षात हरिश्चंद्र में समस्त शास्त्र जो भी बातें लेकर तो अपनी भी दीक्षा लिया मान लिया आपसे, तो आपको भगवान की साइड को देखना है, भगवान में आप साक्षात हमारे लिए, तो ये भावना छोटी बड़ी भी प्रभुपाद है, सब कुछ आप लोग, तो ये कैसे ये तो फिर अपराध हो जाएगा ना।
देश काल टाइम प्लेस एंड सर्कमस्टांसेस डिफरेंट, देश काल पात्र डिफरेंट है, देश काल पात्र डिफरेंट है। आपने प्रभुपाद की करनी होगा,
तो जो देश काल पात्र है उसमें तो हमें आपको भगवान मानना है,
हमें आप भगवान का सर्वंट, प्रभुपाद जी का सर्वंट माना, क्योंकि ये ऐसा हो गया देश काल पात्र डिफरेंट है। देखो कोई भी गुरु जो है वो पूरी दुनिया में प्रचार भी करता है,
मतलब देश काल पात्र के अनुसार हम आपको पूर्णता प्रभुपाद का रिप्रेजेंटेटिव मानते हैं, दीक्षा ले रहे हैं, मेरे प्रभुपाद 100% प्रभुपाद का आदेश उनके माध्यम से उनको पूरा करना है, प्रभुपाद जी का आदेश हमें उनके माध्यम से पूरा करना है, आपके माध्यम से।
देखो ऐसा है कि इस साल पात्र बदल गए, एक ही बात को भी बदल आते जाता है, समझने की कोशिश कर, कहाँ गया क्या नाम है? रामलाल द्विवेदी, कहाँ गया द्विवेदी ब्राह्मण, वो तो क्या कहते जिसका कोई गोत्र नहीं, सब कश्यप गोत्र, हम सभी कश्यप मुनि की तो संतान है, तो कौन है तेरे तेरे लोकनाथ भाग्य की बात है, अपना भाग्य, अपना अपना भाग्य।
अगर आप बोलते हैं तो आपकी बात
डिपेंड करता है टाइम प्लेस पर करता है। एक बात की बात आई है तुम्हें द्विवेदी, तो मेंटल प्लेन पे आ गया है बहुत ज्यादा, तो वो निकले प्लेन से।
कैसे निकलेंगे आप?
जप कर महामंत्र का, बोल मेरे भी इधर आ, बोल हरे कृष्ण
हरे कृष्णा
हरे कृष्ण
हरे कृष्णा
कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम राम राम
राम राम
हरे हरे। जय श्री कृष्ण।